This video is sponsored by Bespoke Post, a free-to-join monthly membership club delivering awesome boxes of top-shelf goods from under-the-radar brands. More on them later.
If garden toads are a sign of a healthy garden, then I need to attract more. We're bringing in primo real estate into this garden block. Well, this is a disaster. DIY friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danie, and today's project is a little weird. I'm not gonna lie, 2 summers ago, I found my garden toad friend amongst the shrubs and I named him Naruto. I wasn't sure if he had stuck around, but this past weekend I was out removing all the winter debris from the gardens and there he was doing all those toad things. And so I laid down this kind of broken pot for him as a house because I was told they like it, but I just kept thinking about it. Do toads have opinions about their houses? What's the toadstool market like, you know? Naruto clearly likes the spot. I have to thank him. He's doing me a clear solid by keeping the bugs away. Toads are natural pest control. Just one can eat nearly 100 insects in one night. That's like 12,000 bugs over the course of 4 months. And I'm here for that. Either way, I thought it would be a lot of fun to make an epic kind of cottagecore inspired toad house. It's fun for me, it's great for him, and it's just kind of like a sweet little surprise when you go exploring through the garden. So what do you say? Is this idea a total win? Yep, what a great time to say subscribe if you're new here. Join this wonderful channel full of horrible dad jokes, but we do all things home in DIY, and sometimes, yeah, we get, I'm not that funny, but I try to be, and I hope that you'll subscribe to that. So with that said, let's get into this video. Editor, roll the tape. Ribbit. Welcome to Naruto's current home. Property value, $8 from the thrift store. This primo pot moved all the way from the front door. It had taken a tumble in the fall, and one figured one person's trash is a toad's treasure. But it's a pretty cool spot. It's got primo shrubbery access, great coverage from predators, an abundance of food and bugs, and it's moderately damp for those great cool nights. What more can a toad ask for? Okay, so let's chat about design. Now, to be completely honest, I was totally thinking of recreating the Ichiraku ramen house from Naruto for my toad, seeing how I did name him Narutoad. But I don't know, my heart is kind of set on going this like cottagecore route. Maybe in my toad expansion series, I'll make it, you know? I'm just kidding. I'm not planning an entire toad garden city. That would be totally ridiculous. The puns today. But I did manage to find some great inspo for the cottagecore inspired toad house, so take a look here. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. I am just obsessed with all these cute little houses out here. Like this first one here, that is the vision. Like I want something like that with all the little rocks, kind of making it like a little stone cottage. So I'm gonna like circle things here that I really love. I also really love this little piece up here. So finding something that could be kind of like a front would be amazing. Also on a whole other level, I love this little cottage here. This is so adorable. I love the roof. I love the stone. I kind of love this little front entryway. I mean, to be fair, I really do need to think about creating a hole that the toad's gonna go in, but like, it's not really about the toad. I mean, it is about the toad. We'll make sure that the toad is very comfortable, but we are giving this toad everything it deserves in terms of having a beautiful home. I actually have a few pictures of the burrow. I think it's exactly what I envisioned for this toad house. It's not neat. It looks kind of magical. It's very fairy-esque. It's very cottagecore, but it's just weird. I basically just want to make like a Burrow Inspired toad house. The only challenge that I have is like really thinking about materials that can withstand the exterior climate. I just need to be careful that anything I put into this can, you know, be rained on or can, you know, weather a little. I think because we are going with like the Burrow Inspired route, we can kind of just like hack a whole bunch of different thrifted little items onto this house and then make something really cool with it. So I kind of want to go out, you know, hit up the thrift stores, go to some craft stores, go to some dollar stores, see what kind of materials I have to work with, and then from there come up with a really solid plan with the things that I have. So with that said, my first step is I gotta go shopping. So let's go thrift shopping! Woohoo! Okay, friends, I have a cartload of things that I was able to thrift, and I'm really excited. There's so much here, I don't even know what to share with you, but I'm going to share the exciting things, like the most important things. The biggest find of the century was this guy here. Look at this. I mean, is this not perfect? It's got a little bell. How cute is that? I don't know how the toads would actually react to the bell if it actually was like windy. But this is so cute. I love the little details on the roof. I mean, like, you just can't build something like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, I love this. This was like such a great find, so really happy with that. I ended up picking up some like cheapy wooden boxes. Mostly I got this one for the feet. I really like the hardware on this, so I thought this could be a really cool detail on the edge. This was definitely a win. Picking up some cheap wooden, literally $1.99, some cheap wooden houses. I mean, these are great because I can just repurpose all the material. It saves me money from buying wood. So that's great. Ooh, I found this like little glass stained window piece. I don't know what this is. It's like a little, I don't know, it's like a tray. I think this could be a really great stained window if we take it apart and just like use it as window pieces. This could be really fun as like a detail. So I think this is cool. I picked up a bunch of tin cans because I figured, you know, they'll do okay for shapes. They're perfect. Ooh, I thrifted this. I mean, she ugly. But, well, I mean, she could be worse. But what I really liked is the wood pieces on the side here. This was perfect. Like, look at all this fun detailing that we can take apart. Oh, I got this. This is fun. This is a ridiculous thing to buy, but I thought this thing here, this little wheel, was super fun. I'm like, how could I not buy this for just this alone? We got some moss on here. We got some cool siding details. We have this little metal piece that we can use as kind of like a little, I don't know, a ring-a-ding-ding material. Is she okay?
Yeah, she's okay.
I loved finding this one. It's just like a green dome of some sort. Obviously, it was like the lid of something, but how cool is this? I figured like this could sit at the top and just be kind of like an open area that like lets in light. I don't know. I mean, toads don't want light. Let's be clear. I'm thinking of the toad, I promise. But it is really cool detail. Maybe we can just like close it off and it's just a detail. But how fun is that? Oh, and then I also got this pie tray. This was gonna be really great because I kind of want to do like a little pool that the toad can chill in and like hang out and cool off, so to speak. So this is gonna be great. I'm gonna like sink this into the ground and then fill it with water. It's gonna be great. But I did, from the craft store, end up getting this. This wasn't expensive whatsoever, and I kind of figured, you know, it'd be nice to have like a starting base just to kind of start me off and like give me a structure to kind of work off of. So I did pick this up. I do want to like add rocks onto it to kind of give it that stone cottage appeal, but you know, it was just so cheap. I was like trying to think, I'm like, okay, well, if I needed to buy the wood to build this, you know, would it actually work itself out? And it probably would. So anyways, I'm starting with this. I thought this would be great. So I got this from Michael's. And then the other things I got from Michael's were these, a big old bag of rocks for creating the rock house. I got some colored rocks because I thought that would be really fun. And then I also got this little Createology wood kit. I don't know, I just really wanted something that I could build like sections out of or cool little elements. And this kit just kind of came with everything. So I was like, you know what, let's just do it. Okay, so then other things I bought from Michael's was some purple moss. I mean, I just couldn't not buy the purple moss, okay? I ended up getting a mini embellishment, like a little fairy door. I think it's super cute. I picked it up. I don't know if I'll need it. And then the last thing I got was this little window frame clay cutter. So they do a whole bunch of arched windows. So I figured this will come in handy when we're cutting some elements into our piece. I did get a whole bunch of other things, but we could be here all day if I went through all of it. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest. But at this point, I kind of just want to start sketching. Now that I know all the items that I have, I'm going to sketch some ideas on paper. Creating all the details is what's going to take the longest. So if I can just like build out the actual house itself and figure out all the little doodads, I think I'd be in a good place. So let's start sketching. Ridiculous, and I have absolutely no clue how I'm about to go about any of this, but I figured what I can do is just start with the base. I'm gonna have to cut up this base for the most part to make room for all the extra elements that I want to build into it. So I think we can just kind of start from there. Let's get building. This is so fun. Getting started on my Toadlicious house, using my sketch as my guide, I kind of first mapped out where I had to make a hole in the roof to add my front dormer. Then using my Dremel with a cutting blade, I just removed it out. And if only it was that easy when actually trying to make a dormer on a real house, am I right? Now, I've never made a dormer before, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of confusing on how to make the angle right, but I know better, so before I cut any of my good material, I mapped it out on cardboard first. It was then I realized extending the roof to make it larger needed to come first, so I took my first thin pine craft board. This is just a thin 1/8 inch board that you can get at any craft store, and I cut that same sized hole out of it and then glued it down to the pre-existing roof using super glue and accelerator, which basically solidifies the super glue in 3 seconds. If magic truly does exist, this is it, friends. Now, once that was in place, I then got my dormer in place, adding supports in the back using paint sticks. Finally found a use for that. And then added the backside of the roof on. I then just closed off the side, and look at that, we got something here, friends, and I just feel like a bona fide contractor for toads. I then cut into my beautiful roof to fit in that super cool wood bell detail that I found at the thrift store. I still can't believe that I found this, and I just glued it in place until I could reinforce it with something else later down the road. Thank goodness that glue is just super, living up to its name. And so this is kind of where the confusion set in. I couldn't figure out how or where I wanted that kind of orby tower to sit, so I just moved on from it. I decided to move on to this back extension thing. I really don't know what to call anything. We're making it up as we go here, but let's call it the extension tower. I basically ended up making a shell, then using a thrifted birdhouse inside. I was able to kind of give it some substance because that wood I was using was just so thin. I'm pretty sure my camera must have died at this point because suddenly we just have a roof and a chimney on that tower thingy, so let's just go with it. I'm doing awesome here, friends. Great content creator. And then I finally went back to trying to figure out the tower. I tried many combinations, but eventually caved, and I'd actually texted Jeffrey for help. Can you buy me a can of Pringles, please? Question mark.
I genuinely provided no context for why I needed those Pringles. You know what? I believe that you should never ask a woman why she wants or needs Pringles. She just does, okay? So while I waited for my holy Pringle can tower to arrive, I ended up securing this the shoe tin and a smaller wood piece to the back of the tower to kind of create like a room slash balcony piece. Not really sure. I kind of was just going with it. And then I also added a larger tin can onto the side and then master crafted what will be a fancy chimney using a tin can and a flower vase stuck together. Weirdly, they were the same color. That's just a coincidence, but to secure it, I cut into my roof, slid it into place, and voila. And then it was also in this moment where I was thinking, I really need to get this thing on a base because this was getting super hard to move around with all the additional bits and bobs on this thing. Woof, what a day. All right, DIY friends, I'm just gonna take a quick moment to have a break, drink this wonderful iced coffee, and thank the sponsor of today's episode, Bespoke Post. I have to say, I love cool subscription boxes, and Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that delivers ridiculously rad boxes of top shelf goods from brands that deserve a spotlight. It's free to join, and every month they introduce their members to cool new products like useful outdoor gear, there's barware, there's home goods and kitchen goods, clothing, and 90% of the products that come in Bespoke Post boxes are made by small brands, many of which are based in the US. Now, these boxes are completely customized to you based on a preference quiz that you fill out when signing up. It's super easy to fill out, and honestly, it kind of gets you really excited about the items to come. Now, the box lineups change every month, and each box of awesome has around $70 in value, but you only pay a fraction of the price. Plus, you only pay for what you want. You'll get a box of awesome assigned to you each month based on your quiz results, and before it ships, you'll get a preview of what comes inside to decide if you want to A, keep it, B, swap it for a different box on offer, or C, skip the month entirely for absolutely no charge. You only pay for what you want, plus the box lineup changes every month, so it's kind of fun. So I've actually received 3 boxes in the past, and I'm gonna show you what they were and what came inside. So this box was called the Weekender bag, and honestly, it is so beautiful. It's made by the company Line of Trade. Its design was based on the original bag style used by the stonemasons to haul their tools to construction sites, and it's built from thick cotton canvas with a heavy-duty frame. It has a thick leather handle, removable nylon webbing, shoulder strap, and an interior pocket that can fit your laptop or small electronics. Since owning this, I have used this bag for every weekend trip I go on. It fits all of my weekend essentials plus some, and it just kind of looks cool. Every time I use it, I always get asked, where did you get that bag? It's been a real hit, and it makes me look cool. So I'm just thinking this one would make a really great gift, or something to gift yourself or a partner if you're looking for something kind of really cool. So the second box I opened is called Chop for a reason. Now this box features 2 Marcellin cookie knives, a 7-inch Chinese vegetable cleaver made for both heavy chopping and careful detail work. It has a tempered high carbon stainless steel blade that can breeze through heads of cabbage or steaks or just kind of mincing smaller ingredients, and it does this with ease. But it also has this beautiful polished acacia wood handle. My partner Jeffrey loves this knife. He prepares almost every meal with it, and it's been a great addition to our kitchen. So the second knife, it's my favorite, was the 6-inch Alaskan Yulu knife. It is so versatile, and I just kind of love that it's based on this traditional Alaskan design. It's tempered, and its high carbon stainless steel blade lets you slice and dice smoothly and quickly through literally anything. I love using this to make salads for my lunch during the week. It just cuts through veggies and cucumbers and tomatoes and just kind of cuts through everything with such ease, and I've really enjoyed using it. I'm a big fan. And then the last box I opened was called the Concentrate box, which features this awesome cold brew iced coffee maker made by the brand Primula. This craft lets you brew 4 to 6 glasses worth of coffee or tea, depending on your preference. I mean, as a cold brew fan myself, it was kind of nice to make this up ahead of time, and then I would put it in the fridge. So then when lunch came around, or late afternoon, and I just needed a pick me up, I could go to the fridge, pour myself this iced coffee, and it was already ready. Like, it was just such a nice thing to have. Now, Now, the box also came with this beautiful concrete desk set tray made by the brand Port Living Co., a cute husband and wife duo who craft all of their goods out of South Carolina. I actually use this at my coffee station for sugar, or I put some of my oat milk in there, and I like to display the spoons and any of the straws in the cup. Maybe not the traditional way to use it, but it's yours. Use it in the way that makes sense to you. And then the last thing that came in this box was these bitters from the brand Bitter Cube. Now you can actually add a dash or two of this into your iced coffee just to kind of give it a little bit of depth and some extra tastes and flavors. Or if you're not feeling the caffeine push, you can add it to one of your alcoholic bevies or literally any bevy. It's very cool and kind of fun to play around with and see which ones you like. So if you like what you see in these awesome boxes, or perhaps another box might catch your interest, click the link bespokepost.com/Danie20 and use the code Danie20 at checkout to get 20% off your first box. I've made my lunch. I have a caffeinated zip in my step. So what do you say? Let's get back to the DIY. Woohoo!
DIY friends, top of the morning to you. I am so excited for today because I feel like today we're really going to transform this toad house, and I think it feels ridiculous to wake up and say, oh, I can't wait to put walls on my toad house. But I just feel really grateful today that you guys all support me and give me a world where I can wake up and put some walls on a toad house. You know what I mean? So anyways, I just want to send some love. I'm feeling it. Okay, so I want to show you what I got up to last night off camera. I think we finally have a base that I'm happy with. So let me show you. We're going to do a full tour of the renovations. Let's go. Okay, everyone, feast your eyes on this. It's kind of weird because there's so many angles to this that make it interesting, so it's like hard to film it. But I got this guy up here. Check that out. Isn't that fun? It actually ended up breaking, but I kind of like that look better. It kind of feels like a little, like a windmill or whatever. This is looking great. So the Pringle can, I got a Pringle can put up here because I wanted some height, and I love this. So this isn't actually secured on because I need to decorate this first, but I kind of love it. It feels like it's like a viewing tower of some sort, you know, maybe some star action happens here, but this is going to be a fun little tower. I kind of propped it up on this little guy here, so it kind of has a nice little, like, I don't know, ribbed action at the bottom. We got our hole for our toad entry here. I filled this piece in, so now it's nice and closed off. We got our chimney on here. Check it out. Looking good. We got our side piece. Let's turn this around. We also have our additional room here with a little balcony that's going to go on top. We have this little room back here, which also is going to have a balcony. And then I also marked in X's where I wanted to add the concrete. So I'm going to be doing a mix of concrete and rocks just to kind of give it that like stone look. It's also going to reinforce this entire thing and really make it a structure that can stand outside and maybe survive. Before I actually start using the concrete, I do want to make the window frames and all the window frames because I kind of want to build the stones into it to make it feel a little bit more like it's been there for a while. So we need to figure out the windows and doors, and then we can get going on transforming this piece. I do think though that I'm also going to add a thin layer of concrete on the areas that I don't even plan to add the stone. I'll just end up painting it, and then I think it's like pretty darn good, and then it's gonna feel really solid. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Let's get the windows started and let's transform this house. How exciting!
I was using small picture frames for door openings. I also added the adorable arch door frame from the craft store. This was not thrifted, but how could I not use such a cute thing for this project? I made this Hobbit inspired looking window using the top of a thrifted spice container and added a wire frame inside. Actually, as soon as I glued that down, I kind of realized I probably should have painted behind there. Yep, that's me trying to remove it, and guess what super glue is? It's super. It's super. You know what? I thought to myself, this really isn't a think 5 steps ahead kind of creative project. We are just living in the moment here, friends. From there, I started working on the balcony details using faux wood decorative pieces taken from a rustic flower bouquet that I simply cut and glued in place. Honestly, I'm actually pretty happy with the way these balconies turned out. Not sure if my scaling was exactly right, but let's go with the fact that this is a magical toad house and anything is possible. We are going for some Willy Wonka mysticism here, okay? I then busted out my epoxy sculpt, which is a 2-part modeling compound that hardens to an extreme amount when mixed together. I'd say you have about a 3-hour window to work with this stuff, but it is awesome. I chose this over, say, like an air dry clay or just a general clay because it's self-hardening and waterproof, aka it can handle its own in the outdoor surroundings. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So I used my extreme hand muscles, look at me go, and I worked the part A, part B clay parts together. This took about 3 minutes, give or take, to really make sure it was mixed. And I have to say this was extremely hard with the serial killer gloves I was wearing, which were way too big for my hands, but I didn't have anything else, so we're going with it. But I did purchase this cute kind of little arched cookie cutter at the craft store so I could cut arch-shaped windows with ease. I would say it worked out pretty well, but my gloves did make it really hard to kind of shape and mold it to kind of how I wanted it to look. So I did the best I could, and I kind of just did most of the shaping on the house itself. I was using a lot of my clay tools. Don't worry, this looks worse before it gets better. You kind of just have to work it out, and then I used some water to smooth out all the sections. I was feeling kind of wishy-washy about this window, but sometimes you just need to trust the process because I know when it's painted up, it is going to look superb. So using that same mentality, I tried to create a second window using the epoxy clay, but yeah, wasn't trusting the process because it sucked. We were going with realism to the best of our abilities here, and I had to assume a cottagecore house like this would have windows made out of real wood, well, or stone, but I wasn't about to add toad stonemason to my resume anytime soon, so wood it is. Now I wanted the windows to be a little thick, so I'm actually using this 1/4-inch pine wood piece, again sourced from the craft store, and I measured out 1/4-inch strips and cut them using my handsaw. I cut them using my Dremel. Of course, no window is complete without the quintessential cross window frame. Come on now. So either I got a lot of food in my teeth, or those toothpicks are now secretly holding tiny pieces of glass frames for my teeny tiny toads. I know. Oh, our shoe house also got a window. The balcony got a frame. Oh man, and then I used this like weird thrifted stained glass window for the main floor. I mean, how cute is this? I mean, of course this house has a stained glass window. What kind of cottagecore house wouldn't have a stained glass window? Am I right? So I lied. We are adding stonemason to the resume. I found this self-bonding cement. Never used the product before, which means I'm totally going to nail it. And I had 2 stone sizes, these small ones and then these larger ones. And then you put all these things together and you got yourself a stone cottage. So, I'm no expert here, but either my cement had too much water in it or my technique was just way too vertically challenged. I found the cement was just drooping and my stones weren't really settling into the cement well, and this was just not what I envisioned for this task at all. Honestly, it had been a while since I had used cement like this for something, and I just remember it being a lot easier to work with than this, but it wasn't until after the fact that I realized there are 6 different types of cements out there, and I was using the ordinary Portland cement, which is your general purpose type cement, but I needed the blended cement. Which has better workability and slump retention. But I just didn't have this information at the time, so I carried on, maybe thinking that this was a trust the process kind of thing. It's funny because if you watch this sped up, you can see how the sides are totally going Jabba the Hutt on me and just start drooping. But I was optimistic, so much so that I thought maybe if I just stand back and look at this from a distance.
Well, this is a disaster.
So that's when panic set in. I thought maybe I needed some kind of material to wrap it to give this cement something to stick to. But my never give up attitude painfully took the wheel in this DIY process, and I tried it again, this time stacking the stones and then just reinforcing it with cement, much like the masons do. Heck, I even glued the stones to the sides first, then tried to fill in the gaps with the cement. But all I was left with was the recreation of Vincent Schiavelli's face. So I caved. I went with what I know, my good friend, Mr. Mortar. Now, don't get me wrong, mortar will hold up just fine outside, but in my research, I had only seen people using cement, so clearly I was just not informed enough to buy the right type. So we are just carving out our own path on this journey, and you know what? The mortar was perfect. It just gives that perfect DQ blizzard consistency every time, and I love it. Yeah, so I decided to take a break from our magic Pringle pillar, so I started on my chimney instead, and I know you can't see my face at this moment, but the sense of relief that washed over my face could literally calm a sea of crying babies. I was grinning ear to ear. The mortar was sticking, and look how those rocks slowly transcend their cute little decorative rock form into a full-blown mini stone chimney. Oh, just so perfect for a teeny tiny toad. Now for the Pringle Tower, I did focus on larger stones for this just to kind of give it a different look from the chimney. I mean, I was now the resident mason, so in my experience, I knew this would look best. Yeah, I went back and forth between wanting to stain the house to give it a log cabin look or add mortar and make it a stone cottage, but my vision said go stone. So using my keen creative skills here, I stuck to the darker stones around the door and sides and light stones for the main walls. I even channeled my inner Hobbiton and created this fun stone decoration around the circle window. And no, I still have not figured out what I'm going to do for the inside of this window, but thank you for asking. I was then clearly going stone crazy because I couldn't stop adding mortar to our Burrow Inspired bedroom space, but this time got fancy and only used the blue stones. Now, as a final step to my day, I knew I wanted to give the roof an extra barrier to protect against that wet weather conditions. So like the horrid cake decorator that I am, yes, we can also add that to my resume, I iced this toad house from top to top.
We have house. I'm sorry, Boo. Can I take my spot back? Can I have my spot back? No? Okay. So right now I need to focus on this section. I need to cover the whole thing with popsicle sticks. I think I'm just going to make it wood, keep it super simple. And then we need to do the roof, which I'm not clear how I'm going to do the roof yet. And then basically we just start painting. Cross fingers, but let's go finish that last room and then let's get to the roof and then we will figure out the rest. I'm excited. We're bringing this toad house together.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure what kind of window structure I was going for here, but it was something. I did like the little blocks above the window though. Thought that would make a really cute detail for no one to see down the line. But the point is that I know it's there and so do you. And that's all that matters. Oh, and look what I found, a cocoa mat, which I thought would make a great rooftop. Now, I've had this roll for so long, actually 2 years long to be exact, so it was time to finally put this to good use, but we will come back to that in a few. I still had a few details to get to, like stealing the foot of this thrifted box for a roof detail, and painting literally the entire thing. Now, I started with a light paint color thinking I was going to like it a little bit more neutral, and I did in some parts, but I wasn't sure how I was feeling about the larger back tower, so we will get to that. We just gotta let bad decisions dry first, you know? I then added some primer on any of the tin parts to help give that surface a little stick in preparation. And then as more poor decisions go, I mixed up this teal green, laid it down on the house side. Yep, hated it, so I added more black to darken it and finally felt like I was back on track. Sort of, because I ended up painting it 2 more times, but again, we will get to that. I also added some brown in areas I wanted to give the appearance of wood. I mean, I guess I could have stained it, but you know what? In that moment, I thought paint was the best, so we're sticking to our gut here. There is something kind of creepy about that tin can with the woman, am I right? It looks like she's just staring out the window and I'm getting like Rear Window vibes from this, but thank goodness she's gone. Of course, no cottagecore house is complete without a little stain, so we pulled out our old dark walnut fave. You know, I really think it gave this house a really nice rustic vibe.
Let's see. Which one's Kenobi?
So the doors to each little balcony went on a real journey because first I thought it would be fun for all the doors to be a nice cherry red, but then after 2 coats on the door, it was way too much. It wasn't filling in properly. So I decided this burnt orange was a much better vibe and wouldn't require as many coats. So path of least resistance, we're going moody. Oh, here comes the 3rd time I'm going to paint this back section, going more teal again. Pretty sure that was almost exactly like the first color I put down on this, but let's not tell past Danie that. Oh, and then there's the 4th time. Yeah, I finally settled on a more sagey green, which was the color I kind of wanted from the get-go. It clearly just took a minute for me to get there, and that's okay. That's okay. The final detail on this cozy cottagecore home was the cocoa mat top. I am so happy I had this material left over from a project I did almost like 2 to 3 years ago. I guess hoarding DIY materials does pay off once in a while. For this, I simply measured my roof dimensions and just cut it in sections. That cocoa mat can be pulled and formed, so it made the perfect material to play with for this rooftop. But to secure it down, I was using a combination of my power staple gun, some super glue, and a spray glue. Now obviously I didn't want the staples showing, so I simply just added some glue onto the top of the staple and applied a little tuff of cocoa mat on top and then secured it in place with the accelerator. I gotta say, I wasn't sure if this was gonna work, but it really did come together nicely, and I guess then we can add roof fabricator to our resume too. I am just killing it. And once the roof was done, I was finally able to add all those little special details that was really going to make this home come to life.
Saved him for my rake.
Okay, put him to his new home. There you go, little toad. Oh my goodness, he went in. Well, DIY friends, I did it. I leveled up the real estate in this garden block, gave my toad a sweet home, and hopefully in return, my garden will thrive all summer long. And you know what? I wanted to share that I had a moment this week where I was feeling kind of silly. I kept thinking, what are people going to think watching me make this weird little home for my toad in the garden? But then I took a moment to reflect on how I felt while making this, how my magic thrived while being able to use my imagination to create the things that I love and truly let my creative soul soar. I love the joy that it brings me, and I love that I could do this for me. I only hope that this little creative project inspired you to feel the same way. Make the silly things, stop thinking about what other people might think, and just focus on making the projects that you love and just simply love your magic, friends.
Burrow Toad, are you enjoying yourself in there? Do you want me to find you some worms? I will bring you food. DIY friends, I cannot tell you how much I love this project. This was such a great week. This was so much fun to create. And I think a project like this just reminded me how important it is to create the things that make you happy, that bring you joy, and stop caring about what other people are going to think, or you know, maybe you think it's silly that I built a toad house, but I love this so much. And I love that there's a little toad inside this house right now. I am officially calling him a Burrow toad. He's definitely not Naru toad, but hopefully they can share the house. I also added the pot back here just in case, so there's room for expansion. And I also added just like a little water pot just in front of the entry, just in case if, you know, like there's birds and maybe little Burrow toad's afraid to come out. At least he has some of the shrubbery coverage. I don't know, I think this is great. I just love this so much. It is so stinking cute. And I hope you guys loved following along this project, because I just thoroughly enjoyed making it. Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you loved it. It really helps my channel, and make sure you're subscribed if you're not. We're growing a really beautiful creative family here, and I can't wait to share more projects this summer. Of course, sending so much love to my Patreon family. If you are looking for a place to celebrate the world of DIY, to share your ideas, get advice, then my Patreon is definitely the place for you. Go check it out. I have linked it in the description box below. But of course, my friends, as always, stay positive, stay creative, and keep on DIYing. Bye-bye.